Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make grime in the style of Ruff Sqwad, inspired by XTC's track Functions on the Low, which is of course the instrumental used in Shut Up by Stormzy. The project file, samples and presets are available for a small contribution in the description and via my Patreon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please leave any artists you'd like me to cover in future in the comments. I've been lacking a bit of inspiration in terms of videos recently, so the requests are much appreciated. If you like this style, check out my Danny Weed and Sasparo videos, which I'll link in the description. Our BPM is 140 and we're in the key of A sharp minor. This is the kick. It's 808 inspired, and as you'll see throughout this project, my approach is to use common drum machine sounds, and this is due to the production limitations of early grime. Next, we have the drums. I'll just go through these one by one. So the snare, shaker, and then we have two hats in a drum rack. These are together in a chug group. The clave. I've added extra reverb here, as I noticed this on the clave in Functions on the Low. And finally, this scratch sample. These types of samples are prevalent throughout lots of early grime, in Dizzy Rascal and Wiley tracks, for example, so there's something worth throwing in as a bit of ear candy. There's a groove applied to all the MIDI in the drums group to add more swing. And on the drums group, there's drum bus, EQ, and reverb via A. For this project, I've chosen the empty club preset, a short reverbs, and a generally dry sound, a part of early grime's aesthetic. Next, we have the bass. Here we have a square bass and a strings layer. So this is the square bass. These bass notes all hit on the offbeat, so the 8th note after the first beat of a bar, except for the G sharp at the end. And this is just because some of the bass notes in Functions on the Low hit on the offbeat. In Serum, we have a square wave taken down by 2 octaves and this low pass filter with drive applied. The low strings play the same pattern. And then adding some more texture. There's EQ on the channel, cutting some of the bass frequencies so the strings don't mask the bass. On the group, there's parallel compression, EQ, and reverb via A. Next, we have the leads. starting with lead 1. The melodies in functions on the low often stick around one or a few notes within a few intervals of each other and descend in places. So I've tried to incorporate those ideas here. In Serum, we have a sine wave running into a low pass filter with its cutoff modulated by LFO1, which is acting as an envelope. There's drive on the filter too. I've used noise here, but I think XTC uses bit reduction on the main lead in functions on the low. The effect is still essentially the same, but when I tried to use Redux to do this, the noise it created was a bit too intense. I have, however, used downsampling in the effects, so that's bit crushing as opposed to bit reduction, and there's EQ too. I noticed that the leads in the inspiration track were quite thin, so I've gone for a similar aesthetic. Then we have the second lead. As in functions on the low, I've used parts of the previous melody for this counter melody. In Serum, the patch is very similar to the previous lead, but I've added some resonance on the filter, and the amp envelope is a little bit shorter as well. There's no noise this time either. Again, in the effects, we have downsampling and EQ. On the group, there's drum bus, EQ, and chorus for width, plus reverb via Sende. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.